How did ancient humans survive being the slowest, weakest animal on Earth? Picture the treadmill at your gym. You crank it up to 10 miles an hour, and you're already gasping after 2 minutes. Now picture a cheetah doing 60, a gazelle clearing a ravine at a dead sprint, a chimpanzee half your size flipping you onto your back before you even register what happened. You are, by almost every physical measure, one of the weakest, slowest things that ever walked across the African savanna. Now, take away your car, take away your weapons, take away your walls, and put you out there, alone, at dusk, with something hungry watching you from the grass. A lion can hit 50 miles an hour in a dead sprint. A leopard can drag a carcass twice its own body weight straight up a tree. Hyenas hunt in coordinated packs with jaws strong enough to crack bone open like a walnut. And you? Your top sprint speed, even at your absolute Olympic best, tops out around 27 or 28 miles an hour, and only for a few seconds before your legs give out completely. You don't have claws. You don't have fangs built for tearing flesh. Your skin tears open if you fall wrong on gravel. In 2017, researchers at the University of Arizona put actual chimpanzee muscle tissue side by side with human muscle tissue in a lab. The chimp muscle produced about 35% more force and power than yours does, fiber for fiber. Pound for pound, your closest living relative is stronger than you, in a body a third your size. If you'd been dropped onto the plains of East Africa 2 million years ago, with nothing but the body you're sitting in right now, on paper, you shouldn't have lasted a single season. So, how did a slow, weak, clawless primate not just survive that world, but end up running the entire planet? The answer barely has anything to do with strength at all. Start with something that happened long before any of that muscle versus brain trade-off. Standing up. Walking upright on 2 legs freed the hands completely. For the first time in the history of any primate lineage, that single shift meant an animal could carry things: food, water, a wounded relative, a sharpened stick, over long distances while still moving. No other predator on the savanna could carry its weapons with it between kills. Humans could. Most animals only get to use the tools nature built into their bodies. Humans got to walk around with a toolbox. Next came the brain. In 1995, anthropologists Leslie Aiello and Peter Wheeler proposed something called the expensive tissue hypothesis. Your brain is about 2% of your total body weight. It burns roughly 20% of your daily energy. That's an absurd ratio for any animal on the planet. To pay for it, early humans' bodies made a trade: smaller guts, lighter muscle, less raw material for brute force, and rerouted that energy upward into thinking. The problem is, a bigger brain alone doesn't kill a lion. It needed a way to turn all that extra processing power into something that could actually reach across distance and hurt something. That something was the throw. In 2013, a Harvard researcher named Neil Roach published a study in Nature after filming college baseball pitchers in slow motion. He found that a professional pitcher's arm rotates at up to 9,000 degrees per second during a throw, the fastest motion the human body produces, faster than any punch or kick. The trick isn't muscle, it's a slingshot. Your shoulder tendons and ligaments stretch backward during the cocking motion of a throw, storing elastic energy, then release it all at once. Chimpanzees have arms and shoulders too, but they physically cannot do this. Only Homo can. That single anatomical quirk let a weak, clawless animal reach out and kill from a distance it could never touch with its bare hands. But a spear only works if the target holds still long enough to get hit, which meant early humans needed one more trick nothing else on the savanna had.
That trick was patience. In 2004, biologists Dennis Bramble and Daniel Lieberman published a paper in Nature arguing that endurance running is a defining trait of the genus Homo, with the skeletal evidence for it: longer legs, springy Achilles tendons, stabilizing neck ligaments, appearing in the fossil record roughly 2 million years ago. Humans weren't built to sprint. We were built to never stop. Here's the mechanism that made that possible. You have somewhere between 2 and 4 million sweat glands spread across almost your entire body. A lion doesn't. A cheetah doesn't. They're covered in fur, and their cooling system is basically panting, which barely works once
They're sprinting flat out. A cheetah pushed to top speed for more than about a minute risks overheating badly enough to damage its own brain. You, on the other hand, could keep walking and jogging for hours in the same heat, dumping excess warmth through your skin the entire time. This isn't just a theory built from bones. Field researcher Louis Liebenberg spent years documenting it happening in real time with sand hunters in the Kalahari Desert in Botswana. He recorded them running a kudu or eland to the point of collapse from heat stroke, in pursuits that sometimes covered 20 to 35 kilometers and lasted over 5 hours. No spear throw required for most of it, just relentless, sweating pursuit until the animal's body simply gave out before the humans did. Now, you might be thinking, if this was such a reliable strategy, why don't we see it constantly today? Some researchers, including Travis Pickering and Henry Bunn, published a paper in 2007 pushing back hard on this idea, arguing that the thick brush and difficult terrain where early humans actually lived would have made this kind of hunt nearly impossible in practice. Other anthropologists disagreed just as strongly. It's genuinely not settled. This is one of the real live debates in the field, not a tidy textbook fact. What is settled is that humans were using tools long before any of this endurance biology even evolved. Stone tools discovered at a site called Lemekwi 3 in Kenya have been dated to roughly 3.3 million years old, older than the genus Homo itself, older than any major jump in brain size. The tools came first. Evolution essentially handed early hominins claws and fangs made of rock, millions of years before their bodies caught up. And none of this worked alone. A slow, weak individual with a sharpened rock and tired legs is still just prey, but a group of them, coordinating, tracking, taking turns, sharing the exhaustion of the chase, that stops being an easy meal. Lions hunt in groups too, but a pride still relies on raw physical speed and force in the final seconds. Early human groups didn't need that final burst. They just needed to outsuffer the animal in front of them, together, for longer than it could hold out. That's a kind of strength no predator on the savanna had ever had to plan for. Back on that treadmill, none of this ancient machinery is doing much for you anymore. The elastic slingshot in your shoulder that once launched a spear at a fleeing antelope now just lobs a crumpled receipt into the trash can. The 2 to 4 million sweat glands that once let your ancestors outlast a kudu under the equatorial sun now mostly just embarrass you at the gym. The hands that were freed by standing upright, built to carry a spear across 10 miles of open grassland, now carry a gym bag from the car to the door. What used to be the most sophisticated survival engine on the entire savanna is, most days, just sitting in traffic. You were never the strongest thing out there. You were just built to outlast it.